Household debt has become the biggest threat for the Korean economy. We find out about the government measure to bring economic stability for the Korean people through the National Happiness Fund. Konex opened to the public on July 1st as a growth-type stock market exclusive to small and medium-sized venture companies. Ways to share the smartphone display. We find out about the mirroring technology and how it is being utilized in many ways. We find out about the science behind 3-7 nail clippers and the secret behind the nail clippers' global success. North Korean authorities are using animation to indoctrinate the socialism ideology to its people, especially children. We find out about North Korea's animation industry.
Hello, I'm Andrew Salmon. Welcome to Bizline and welcome to a very sticky August indeed. We've got a packed show for you today. We're covering everything from South Korea's worrisome household debt and North Korea's surprising animation industry to high-tech nail clippers. So do stay with us. But before we go to those features, let's take a look at all the breaking business and economic stories hitting the headlines across South Korea this week.
President Park Geun-hye says culture is the alchemy of the 21st century that adds great value to other industries. She also said that it will be one of the engines behind her push for a creative economy. She said that culture, when combined with science, IT, and more conventional industries, could inject new life. The president asked committee members to do their best to spread the Korean wave to all areas of Korean culture, including Korean language, food, and traditional houses and crafts. U.S.-based market researcher LMC Automotive forecasts that Korea's largest auto manufacturer will record an all-time high in terms of global market share this year based on the number of cars sold. Hyundai Motor and its affiliate Kia Motors sold around 3.7 million vehicles in the first half of this year, giving it 8.8% of global market share. Experts say the Hyundai Group is expected to pass the 9% mark by the end of the year, despite a drop of sales in the United States. Despite the prolonged economic crisis in Europe, Samsung Electronics posted a record operating profit of $8.5 billion in the second quarter of this year. Samsung logged sales of $51 billion in the second quarter, a 20% increase from the same period last year. Both sales and profits kept increasing in consumer electronics, semiconductors, and panel display businesses. The Bank of Korea said that the business sentiment index for July remained subdued, coming in at 72, down from the 79 tallied a month earlier. The index that gauges manufacturers' expectations on business conditions dropped the most this month in a year. The drop in business sentiment comes less than a week after the central bank said the economy grew at the fastest pace in 2 years in the second quarter of this year.
The biggest issue hanging over the South Korean economy today is household debt. At the end of last year, South Korean household debt amounted to a staggering $987 billion. Not only does this debt stifle consumption, it also threatens countless South Korean families with bankruptcy. Now, as part of measures to handle this problem, the government in April launched a so-called National Happiness Fund. How has this fund been operating for the last few months? What benefits has it delivered? Let's take a look.
The South Korean government is looking for means to maintain stability in the economy, and household debt is one of the key agenda the Park Geun-hye administration is keen to address. In dealing with the issue, the government recently announced a debt restructuring program called the National Happiness Fund to assist people in debt and in need of help. Gu Bon-hak is working day and night to pull himself out from a personal financial turmoil. He drives other people's car to their home at night, but that wasn't his regular job.
제가 한 2007년도부터 PC방을 오픈을 했다가 2009년 정도에 이제 전체적으로 경제 상황이 안 좋아지면서 직원들 월급도 밀리고 하니까 결국엔 폐업을 하고 그냥 그 이후부터는 지금까지 그냥 대리운전 하면서 근근히 살고 있습니다.
What makes matters worse is that Gu has a debt which he can't pay back. But he is not alone. There are many more who are under extreme financial difficulties. Household credit in South Korea has been increasing and has reached around $860 billion as of March.
가처분 소득 대비 가계부채 규모가 우리나라는 한 164%, 그다음에 GDP 대비 가계부채 규모가 한 90% 정도 되는데, 이 수준을 다른 선진국, 예를 들어서 OECD 평균과 비교를 하면 좀 상당히 높은 편입니다.
And with the rise in household debt, inability to pay back the loan, the delinquency rate has been rising as well, which is a concern to the country planning for a smooth economic recovery.
가계 부채는 뭐 당장 뭐 터지지만 않는다면 크게 어떤 우리 경제에 큰 영향이 없을 수도 있습니다. 하지만 어떤 계기로 인하여 터질 경우에는 상당히 우리 경제가 회복하는데 상당히 어려움을 주고요. 뭐 개인적으로도 상당히 불행한 일이겠지만 국가적으로도 상당히 안 좋은 아주 치명적인 영향을 미칠 수가 있고요.
Thus, the government is taking the matter seriously, and as the economy is headed for the path to recovery, it is looking to assist those looking for a second chance to regaining financial independence. Gu is also searching for means to help him ease financial burden for now so that he could plan ahead.
이제 부채가 아무래도 있으니까 계속 이자를 내야 되는데, 이게 이자액을 제가 감당할 수가 없어서 한 6개월 정도 연체가 돼 있는 상황이거든요. 그래서 그거를 어떻게 좀 유예 기간을 준다든가 이런 저한테 좀 제가 가질 수 있는 시간을 좀 줬으면 좋겠습니다.
The National Happiness Fund, joined by more than 4,200 financial institutions and private lenders, raised resources to restructure debt through money recovered from past distressed debts.
그 장기 연체자라는 것은 2013년 2월을 기준으로 일단 6개월 이상의 연체자를 말하는 거고요. 그리고 또한 7월부터는 그리고 연대 보증인까지 저희가 조정을 하고 있기 때문에 외환위기 당시에 연대 보증인으로 인해서 지금 피해를 입고 오랜 기간 장기 연체를 하셨던 분들도 많이 찾아오고 계십니다.
Some 3.4 million people who are eligible have been notified individually, while some 130,000 have applied so far.
오늘 IMF 때문에 제가 그때 옷가게를 운영을 하고 있었는데 사업이 잘 안 돼서 근데 그때 대출받았던 금액이 8천만 원 정도 있는데 그거를 갚기 위해서 오늘 어떻게 해야 될까 해서 왔습니다.
The program can help the delinquents regain their credit to find a regular job or start a new business.
그 8천만 원에 대해서 50% 감면하고 이제 달달이 상환을 하게 된다고 하는데 일단 제가 대상이 되어서 굉장히 기쁘고 행복기금이 참 서민들에게 많은 도움을 주는 것 같아서 오늘 매우 기쁜 날입니다.
Debt relief programs are necessary in order for the debt-ridden individuals to break away from a vicious cycle of being chained to high-interest loan and regain their credit. And there are other programs that people can turn to should the National Happiness Fund fail to provide a solution.
이제 국민행복기금의 지원 대상이 6개월 이상 장기 연체라든지 1억 이하의 소액 채무에만 한정이 되다 보니까 단기 연체자분이나 그 채무 금액이 좀 많으신 분들은 지원 대상에서 배제되는 측면이 있는데요. 그런 분들을 위해서 정부는 그 몇 가지 보완 대책을 시행을 하고 있습니다.
For the ones who are not eligible for the National Happiness Fund, they can turn to the Credit Counseling and Recovery Service or apply for bankruptcy in court. In assisting the financially troubled individuals through the National Happiness Fund, there are concerns of creating moral hazard, but that seems unlikely.
저희가 채무조정을 접수해 본 결과를 보면 대부분의 분들이 저소득자이시고 채무 금액도 1,200만 원 이하의 소액 채무자이기 때문에 그런 도덕적 해이의 우려는 없다라고 생각이 됩니다.
However, tackling the household debt problem should take some time.
최근에 가장 이슈화가 됐지만 이런 가계부채 문제가 발생하게 된 게 사실은 최근 한 10년간에 걸쳐서 점진적으로 발생한 문제이기 때문에 사실상 단기간에 어떤 정책적인 수단을 써서 가계부채 문제를 해결하려고 하는 것은 상당히 어려운 일입니다. 그렇기 때문에 이제 정부의 입장에서도 사실은 가계부채 문제 해결을 위해서는 굉장히 장기적인 플랜을 가지고 점진적으로 이를 해소하려고 하는 노력이 필요할 것으로 생각됩니다.
And that is what the National Happiness Fund and other debt relief programs introduced by the government is aiming for, giving a second chance for the individuals in reclaiming one's financial independence.
On July the 1st, the Korea Exchange launched Korea's third stock exchange after the existing KOSPI and KOSDAQ market. It's called KONEX, and it's designed to be a capital source for Korea's cash-strapped SMEs and tech ventures. The question is, why does Korea need a third market? Moreover, will investors be willing to make a play? To answer these questions and more, we're joined today by Dr. Lee In-hyung of the Korea Capital Market Institute. Dr. Lee, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Bizline.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's start in London. As I understand, that the KONEX market is based on the AIM market in London. What is the AIM and how does it work?
AIM is a secondary market of the London Stock Exchange Group. AIM is specifically listing small and medium-sized enterprises. And one of the features of AIM is that it has very minimal listing requirements. So virtually there's no financial requirements or the governance structure requirements that is normally required for a company to go public. The purpose of that minimum requirement is that so that the small and medium-sized companies can actually have an easier access to risk capitals that the London can provide. But one of the problems of that minimum requirement is that it opens the investor to
major
risky investments and limited information. So in order to address those issues, the London Stock Exchange has introduced what is called the Nomad system, where Nomad is a consultant, a designated consultant that identifies the SMEs for listing in AIM. And not only they help the companies to go public, but they also have to maintain their relationship with the public after they go to public, after listing.
And what kind of entity is a Nomad? Is this a legal firm, a consultancy, a brokerage?
There is a requirement that a firm has to meet these minimum standards for acting as a Nomad. Usually in London, small security houses, brokerage houses act as Nomad, and even some consulting firms that actually specializes in consulting capital structures for small and medium enterprises. And those companies take fee from those kind of consultations, but they look over the long term where the initial fee for consulting fee would not be that sufficient for them to survive as a business model in that only specific to AIM companies. But what they look into the future where when the company grows, they will be needing more capital, so that they'll be offering more stocks. So when there's stock offering, they'll do consultation services. The companies can merge with other companies, and they need to find out prospect buyers. So those kind of future deal makings are what the Nomads are aiming for, and that's a very strong incentive for the Nomads to actually keep the company healthy and informative to the investors.
Okay. And are these the features which are also incorporated into KONEX?
That's right. When the KONEX was designed, it introduced what is called the designated consultant in Korean terminology. And the role of the designated consultant in AIM is exactly the same as the role what the Nomad is supposed to play in London. They have to identify prospective companies, and they have to maintain that relationship in order for the company to stay listed in the CONEX.
And again, in Korea, what kind of business entities are these consultants?
For now, exclusively for the brokerage houses in Korea. So there are 11 brokerage houses that are designated as the consultants.
Gotcha.
And we hope that this would be this is a very experimental model in Korean capital market, because we never had this kind of role envisioned for the brokerage houses to keep a very long-term relationship with the companies so that they can keep growing with the company, and they have this reputational stake with them, so that if they fail with the company, they will have a dent, reputational risk that they have to carry.
So it's mutual risk, mutual
benefit.
benefit.
That's right. So that's also motivate them for them to select very carefully the companies that will have actually growth potential.
Gotcha. Now, what does CONEX actually mean or stand for?
CONEX stands for the Korea New Exchange.
Okay, well,
that abbreviation of CONEX.
That makes perfect sense. And how does this differ from the existing secondary market in Korea, the KOSDAQ?
Okay, well, actually, KOSDAQ is considered to be one of the successful secondary market, or the other terminology for this is what is called the new market. So if you look at the recent trend of IPOs in KOSDAQ market, the average size of the firms who are listing in KOSDAQ has grown over the years.
Okay.
So we cannot call them small enterprises. We might call them mid-sized enterprises. And that has been worrying the people in the capital market, and also have been worrying the regulators who envision the role of the exchange as providing risk capital to companies so that they can create jobs and value added. So that's the main basic motivation for designing the CONEX.
Okay, let's get down to some data on CONEX. Currently, since its launch, how many companies are listed?
21 companies have.
I mean, that seems like a very low number.
Well, if you take the fact that AIM, when it started, there were only 10 companies listed.
Okay.
So it's just a start.
Okay.
So we'll have to keep an eye on how many companies are listing in the future.
Well, that's a good perspective then. Now let's talk about risk and investor protection. KOSDAQ has suffered a significant number of delistings over the years, and yet the new CONEX market has got even kinder, gentler disclosure requirements than KOSDAQ. What kind of investor protection is in place?
That's right. You're right. There has been a potential problem in the KOSDAQ market with some of the companies are involved in criminal activities and embezzlement from the managers and so on. And the Korean Exchange has taken a very active role in trying to filter out those companies in the KOSDAQ market. So in fact, they have strengthened some of the regulatory requirements for the companies to get listing on the KOSDAQ. And probably that's one of the reasons why the companies are having difficulties approaching the KOSDAQ market, because for the few years, the emphasis was on investor protection, not on all-out efforts to list companies. So one of the design and features of design in the CONEX market is that to make as less regulation, to make least requirements for the companies to get listed. When companies get listed, they have to make regular disclosures that requires resource for the companies, and they have to make annual reports to the investors. So for a very small company, that would be a very burdensome job. So one of the role of the designated consultant is to help them to disclose it, when to disclose, what kind of information to disclose it, so to lessen the resources that the small companies.
Now, in terms of the overall market environment, as we've got KOSPI, we've got KOSDAQ, now we've got CONEX. How will CONEX synchronize with the other markets? Do you anticipate, companies graduating from CONEX to the bigger boards?
Well, actually, the Korea Exchange has designed rules that enables companies that are listed in CONEX to be more easily transferred to KOSDAQ. That the companies meeting some certain requirements, such as volume, capitalization, they will be exempt from some of the requirements when a new company just lists to KOSDAQ. So one of the advantage of listing in CONEX would be as long as they meet certain requirements, they will find an easier way
to get into
the
KOSDAQ, which is more liquid.
That's right.
Okay. Of course, this is all designed, but we're hearing a great deal in Korea about economic democratization. Realistically, SMEs here have always suffered capital problems. They're pretty much reliant on bank loans. This is designed as a capital source. Is this going to realize some form of economic democratization for the small boys?
We only have 21 companies listed, and the total capitalization is right now just 0.01% of the main market, the KOSPI market. So it's not a big market. It's a small section of the Korean capital market. But there is a symbolic importance in the sense that the government and the regulatory bodies and the exchange is trying to help the venture startup companies. If this market succeeds to a reasonable degree, I think the rules that were introduced and the systems that were introduced in making the CONEX work might also be introduced in KOSDAQ markets, such as the designated consultant companies, so that they can provide more guide the companies. The large part of the section in KOSDAQ market is also very small companies. So in a sense, they also might be having the problem of less information carried out to investors. So if the CONEX market do succeed, I think we can transfer that system to so make the KOSDAQ more successful.
But you talked about if the CONEX becomes successful. I mean, define success. How can we assess the success or the failure of CONEX in the next days, weeks, months, years, decades?
Yeah, obviously the size of the market will matter. How many companies are listed and how many companies are successful in capitalizing themselves through this market. So that would be the final criteria to judge whether CONEX has succeeded or not. But we do have KOSDAQ market. So I don't see in near future that CONEX market will be a sizable market that will be a substitute to the KOSDAQ market. But my view is that, as I said, this is a symbolic market, and it has introduced new features into it for investor protection and long-term relations between the company and the intermediaries. So if this succeed, I think it would be a good model for the capital market in Korea, where it can encourage long-term investors' relationship. And I think that would be a great contribution to the market in the long run.
Okay, can I put you on the spot and ask you, where would you like to see CONEX in the midterm, in say 3 to 5 years? How many companies would you like to see listed? And can you give me a guess at market cap?
Well, it's a guess, but KOSDAQ companies, little less than 1,000 listed in the KOSDAQ market. So let's say 30% of KOSDAQ, 300 companies, small and good companies listed and raising capital through that. Although it would be a small amount, I think that would be a success.
Okay, final question. Have you made a play on CONEX yet?
I don't have 300 million won. I require 300 million won
to make the investment.
Yeah, that's
I don't have it either. I think we both need a pay rise.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Dr. Lee, thank you very much for joining us on Bizline. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's okay. GPS navigation system mounted on the dashboard of his car used to be a must-have item for any self-respecting South Korean driver. Now, however, a smartphone with a navigation app can link to any screen inside a vehicle, even if that vehicle doesn't have its own GPS system. And this technology works two ways. The smartphone can control the screen, and also the screen can control the smartphone. What enables this is mirroring technology. In our ICT segment, we look at what it is, what it does, and what the possibilities are.
A smart car has made driving more convenient and exciting by offering drivers accurate and fast direction guide in real time and enabling them to enjoy music, videos, game, and messaging easier in a car. Thanks to the mirroring technology, automobiles have been getting smarter. Let's explore the mirroring technology that continues to evolve. The mirroring technology enables a user to view the screen of a device on the display of another connected device, as if watching a reflected image on a mirror. But with the wide use of smartphones, mirroring technologies have evolved in their support, the main distribution channel for contents.
2010년경에 노키아라는 휴대폰 제조사에서 휴대폰의 화면을 다른 디바이스로 보낼 수 있게 하는 규격을 개발을 했고요. 휴대폰 제조사 하나의 힘만으로는 모든 디바이스의 표준적인 규격으로 발전하기 힘들어서 노키아를 중심으로 컨소시엄이 만들어졌는데요. 그래서 현재는 미러링크라는 표준 규격을 가지고 여러 회사들이 미러링의 솔루션을 개발을 하고 있습니다.
One of the leading mirroring solutions is MirrorLink, a global standard mirroring technology developed and promoted by the Car Connectivity Consortium, or CCC. So far, MirrorLink has been adopted as the standard in mirroring solution, and nearly 70% of mobile phone makers and 60% of automobile manufacturers use its technology. Mirroring technologies have been applied most widely to vehicles these days. Smartphone road guide services are poised to replace conventional automotive navigation systems after telecommunications companies started providing real-time navigation services that offer more accurate information than the conventional navigation, but requires no manual updates.
T맵은 통신형이기 때문에 맵 데이터와 모든 이 경로 계산이 서버 쪽에서 이루어지게 되고 그걸 내려받는 이런 구조로 되어 있습니다. 그래서 고객이 굳이 업데이트를 하지 않아도 항상 최신의 경로와 그다음에 최신의 맵 데이터를 확인할 수 있다는 점에서 기존의 내비게이션과는 근본적인 차이가 있다고 볼 수 있고요. 그 자동차를 이용한 교통 정보 외에도 그 2,500만 그 SKT 고객들의 어떤 이동 정보를 활용한 그런 교통 정보를 저희가 추가적으로 수집하고 있습니다.
As watching the small size screen of a smartphone during driving is uncomfortable and dangerous, mirroring technology is applied to enable a driver to view the smartphone screen map on a tablet PC with a display size in 7 inches or larger.
영화 필름이라는 게 정지 화면을 여러 벌 계속 찍어서 그거를 굉장히 빠른 속도로 플레이를 했을 때 동영상처럼 보이는 기술이잖아요. 저희도 휴대폰의 화면을 굉장히 빠른 속도로 캡처를 해가지고 그거를 다른 디바이스로 전송을 하거든요. 그러면 전송을 받은 디바이스 입장에서는 사진이 굉장히 빠른 속도로 여러 장이 날아오는 거예요. 그래서 그 사진들을 동영상 플레이 하듯이 아니면 슬라이드 쇼로 보여주듯이 이렇게 빨리 재생을 하면 그 자체가 화면이 동영상처럼 움직여서 동일한 화면이 보여지는 거죠.
In its response, car navigation system vendors started to add infotainment functions to the conventional road guide services by using mirroring solutions. Now, it is possible to manipulate all smartphone functions, such as playing videos, music, or games on the screen of a car navigation. A user needs to download smartphone apps that can connect the phone to the navigation system or tag the phone on an NFC sticker. Conventional smartphone mirroring technologies allowed operation only through a smartphone, but through the newer mirroring solutions, it is possible for the navigation system and the smartphone to control each other in a car.
기존에는 뭐 단순 TV를 본다든지 영상 송출을 한다든지 사진, 포토 이런 것들만 제공이 되어 있었는데 내가 앱을 내려받게 되면 그 앱에 관계없이 모든 스마트폰에서 돌아가는 서비스들은 저희가 미러링을 통해서 내비게이션 서비스를 쓸 수 있습니다. 예를 들어서 유튜브, 카카오톡, 그다음에 애니팡 뭐 이런 심지어 타사에서 제공하는 내비게이션 서비스까지 아무 지장 없이 내비게이션을 통해서 서비스를 할 수 있는 서비스가 되겠습니다.
A series of technologies have been developed to allow viewing of the smartphone screen contents on the large display of a TV in a living room. And those solutions are provided through Apple's AirPlay, Samsung Electronics' AllShare, and Google's Chromecast. That is not all. Mirroring technologies have been incorporated during a video conference in a company or a lecture in college to help boost work and learning efficiency by sharing documents and even handwriting. Even people in remote places can play the same video or view photos simultaneously.
이 어플리케이션은 이런 가지고 있는 스마트 패드나 스마트폰에서 간편하게 사용할 수 있는 이런 문서 공유하는 솔루션입니다. 화면을 넘기거나 문서를 내려주거나 이 사람이 공유하고 싶은 문서를 상대방한테 전달하거나 그런 모든 행위들을 다 저희 서버를 통해서 모든 게 다 이루어집니다. 서버를 조금 더 낮은 패킷으로 좀 더 빠르게 1000대, 2000대가 같이 이런 공유를 해도 다 뭐 무리가 없이 그냥 진행할 수 있게끔 서버를 설계를 하고 있습니다.
Mirroring technologies have been incorporated already in many areas of our everyday life. With further advancements in Wi-Fi tethering technology extending the transmission range, the mirroring technology could be used in more places.
미러링이 좀 더 발전이 된다면 사실은 스마트폰의 카메라를 이용을 해서 스마트폰이 가진 화면을 다른 데로 전송을 할 수 있다면 그 말 그대로 움직이는 CCTV가 될 수 있는 거고요. 뭐 의료 분야, 교육 분야에 다양하게 적용이 될 수 있을 거라고 봅니다.
Mirroring technology makes our life much easier as it enables a wide range of services such as in-vehicle infotainment system that allows smart services in a car video conference. There is no doubt that the mirroring is another cutting-edge technology that could bring us to a better life.
Clipping your nails may be a fairly onerous task, but it's one you need to perform pretty regularly if you're to be presentable in public. If you've clipped your nails recently, you may have noticed inscribed on the side of the clipper 3 sevens. Now this kind of clipper is now sold in 90 countries worldwide, and although it's a fairly humble instrument, includes some pretty sophisticated technology. Let's meet this week's hidden champion.
A person's nails highlight healthy and beautiful hands. Did you know that nails reflect the state of your health? Are you taking good care of your nails? These days, nail care trends strongly focus on the aesthetic aspects of nail care while also valuing health and cleanliness.
요즘에는 트렌드가 미적인 부분이 굉장히 많기 때문에 기초적인 거에 대해서는 많이 간과하시는 분들이 많으신 것 같아요. 그래서 질병이나 이런 게 손톱이나 이런 곳에서 찾아오기 때문에 청결을 항상 유지해서 건강 관리를 하시는 게 좋을 것 같습니다.
The need to manage one's nails is being emphasized for health reasons, which is being reflected by the increasing demand for nail clippers. Korean nail clippers are being well received worldwide as well as in the domestic market. Dongdaemun Market is the mecca of Korean tourism. There is one shopping mall that foreign tourists frequently visit. It's not a clothing store nor a shoe store, but rather a shop that specializes in nail clippers. Foreigners come to this shop to buy several nail clippers as souvenirs to be brought back to their home country. This shows how well-known Korean nail clippers are around the world.
보통 이제 선물용으로 구매를 하시기 때문에 한두 개 정도로 구매하시는 게 아니라 지인분들 용도로 해서 뭐 10세트, 20세트 정도로 해서 이제 한국에서 사오는 선물이라고 하면 저희 제품은 다 유명하니까 그런 용도로 많이 구매를 해주시는 편이세요.
37. This brand is very famous in China, and quality very good.
Many people want to buy this product.
Nail clippers that are better known overseas than in Korea. These are precisely the 37's products that are made in Korea. 37 makes almost 100 million nail clippers a year, which are then distributed around the world. 37 is a leading example of a hidden champion that has conquered the world with a very small product. From making nail clippers by spreading drum cans to becoming a global leader, the Korean nail clipper brand has dominated companies from the United States, where nail clippers were first created. The reason for this lies within continuous product development, including quality improvement. A good nail clipper does not lose its elasticity and the blade remains sharp. 37's nail clippers maintain high quality and finesse by undergoing 30 different types of processing, such as molding, heat treatment, and plating polish. 37 nail clippers have more than 1.5 times the cutting force compared to nail clippers made from other companies. The secret lies within 0.02 millimeters. Although the upper blade and the lower blade seem to meet perfectly, the lower blade is actually 0.02 millimeters long, which enables a stronger cutting force.
날이 약간 겹쳐야만이 손톱깎이가 잘 먹을 수가 있습니다. 그렇게 일반 손톱깎이로는 일자로 연상을 하지만 저희들은 다 거의 자동으로 하기 때문에 연상을 겹치는 면이 거기에서 0.02mm를 특별히 할 수 있는 노하우가 있습니다.
At times, when nail clippers were not thought of as an essential part of people's lives, the company used to give away its products as gifts and promotional items, which marked the beginning of domestic sales. However, people began to see the need for nail clippers as an essential tool through product comparison based on quality. The company had to go through many obstacles from production to exports before seeing real success.
손톱깎이를 처음 만들다 보니까 전용 기계가 없었어요. 그러니까 모든 기계를 제 손으로 만들어서 기술이 없는 상태에서 외부의 도움과 사람들 전문가들의 도움을 받으면서 전용 기계를 만들면서 손톱깎이를 자동화 생산하는 데가 제일 힘들었었고, 두 번째는 브랜드화하는 데 굉장히 힘들었습니다. 전 세계적으로 상표를 등록하다 보니 중소기업으로서는 굉장히 많은 비용 때문에 어려운 점이 있었어요.
Despite numerous obstacles, no one could copy the technology that the company had acquired over the years, and the effort paid off in the end. 37's effort in product development has led to the production of many different products, like special nail clippers for seniors and young children, and manicure sets with many more items with different functions. 37 holds the #1 spot in global market share. It also exports to 92 countries around the world. This means that 1 out of 2 people in the world are using a 37 nail clipper, which is a reflection of Korea's technological status.
가장 뛰어난 브랜드, 그다음에 뛰어난 기술력, 그다음에 디자인, 이런 부분들에 있어서 앞으로 시장을 계속 개척해 나갈 것이고, 그래서 손톱깎이도 각자 자기의 물건으로서 자기 혼자만의 개인 용품으로서 사용할 수 있는 시대가 올 것이라고 보고, 그렇게 됐을 경우는 한 가족이 4인 가족으로 했을 때 앞으로 4배의 손톱깎이가 팔릴 수 있다고 생각하고 있습니다. 그래서 그 시장을 공략하기 위해서 제 제품을 발전시켜 나가려고 하고 있습니다.
37 has come a long way from relying on old drum cans to becoming the best nail clipper manufacturer. There were many setbacks and obstacles throughout the process of technological research and marketing, but the company took on the challenges to finally conquer the world. The success story is within this small product. It is also a national achievement powered by Korea's technological ability.
North Korea and South Korea, fierce and sometimes deadly rivals, are frequently at daggers drawn. Given this rather sad state of political affairs, you may be astounded to learn that one area there has been successful cooperation is in animation. North Korean animators played a part in the creation of South Korea's animated penguin Pororo, who's now a global hit. They've also quietly played a role in several international animation productions. In our North Korean segment, we take a look inside this rather surprising segment of the North Korean economy.
Pororo, the Little Penguin, is a wildly popular 3D animation series among preschool kids and children throughout South Korea. And the series has been sold in 110 countries around the world. Compared to its frantic popularity, what many do not know is that the first season of Pororo has been produced in part by animators in North Korea. Experts say North Korea's animation skills now rank among the world's best. The communist state has been fostering the animation industry for decades since the late 1950s.
북한 애니메이션이라고 하는 것은 특히 아동들을 대상으로 하는 경우 대부분이기 때문에 아동 교양 사업에서 대단히 중요한 역할을 하고 있습니다. 아동들이 봐야 할 영화이기 때문에 상당히 비중 있게 관리하고 있습니다.
North Korea's former leader Kim Jong-il, a known movie aficionado, set several guidelines to be followed when creating juvenile films or animations. Those guidelines helped characterize the current North Korean animation. First, it is very academic.
일반적으로 북한 문화에서는 대부분 정치적인 사항들을 포함하고 있습니다만 이 애니메이션 같은 경우에는 아동들의 연령 수준이 높지 않고 또 표현할 수 있는 수단이 제한되어 있기 때문에 특별하게 지시를 내려서 아동 영화 같은 경우에는 정치적 내용보다는 과학, 기술, 그 다음에 삶에 있어서 교훈이 되는 이야기 중심으로 전체 주제를 끌고 가고 있는 것이 특징이라고 할 수 있습니다.
너구리가 벼랑을 넘어가야 되겠는데 생각하다가 지렛대의 힘을 이용해서 넘어갔다. 뭐 이런 식으로 과학적인 거를 항상 하여튼 뭔가 가르치려는 순수한 재미 이거는 허용 안 돼요.
The second feature is personification of characters.
일단 사람일 경우에 옛날 시대적 배경을 옛날 전설, 조선시대라든지 이때 사람들 이때를 형상하면 가능할 것 같아요. 근데 현 시대를 배경으로 사람이 나오는 경우에는 사상이 들어가야 할 것 같아요, 거기에. 그래서 안 쓰는 것 같아요.
Major cartoons that gained huge popularity from the North Korean youth include Clever Raccoon Dog, The Boy General, and Prince Hodong and Princess of Raknag, among many others. Each of the 52 Clever Raccoon Dog episodes teaches various academic and moral lessons with a touch of humor. The Boy General is an epic animation series of 100 episodes featuring heroic exploits and battles against foreign aggressors. And Prince Hodong and Princess of Raknag is an animate film based on the Korean historical tale. The Scientific and Education Film Studio of Korea, also known as the 426 Film Studio located in Pyongyang, is the hub of North Korea's juvenile films. Established in 1957, it is known to be the world's largest and 85th most influential animation studio, employing more than 1,600 staff with state-of-the-art equipment. The North's animation factory has received orders from abroad since 1986 and has been playing a key role in earning foreign currency reserves.
1년에 800만 불을 벌었는데 200만 불을 항상 김정일이한테 바친 거예요. 뭐 400만 불인지 국가 계획이라네요. 뭐 그렇게 나가고 나머지 가지고 자재를 사고 그 나머지가 가지고 사람들한테 뭘 사주는 거예요. 나머지가 사람들 월급인 거예요.
The highly skilled, low-cost workforce in the North animation market is the main factor that attracts commercial foreign animators to the communist country.
주로 이탈리아, 프랑스에서 제작된 극장용 애니메이션 같은 경우에 상당히 많이 이제 주문을 받고 있고 진행이 되고 있는 걸로 알고 있습니다.
주제를 주는 거예요. 주제 주면 북한 쪽에서 스토리로부터 콘티로 해서 다 해요. 다 하고 대사, 음악 뭐 이런 거는 그 주문엔 쪽에서 하죠.
Among many, some of the well-known products are Pifé Hercule and Prudence Petit Pas from France, and Simba the Lion King and the Prince of Dinosaurs from Italy. North Korea also co-produced 3 animations with the South: Lazy Cat Dinga, Pororo the Little Penguin, and Empress Chung. As for Pororo, North Korean animators were contracted to complete 22 episodes of the total 52. However, they were only able to finish 13 on time due to various reasons.
의사소통은 굉장히 좋았는데 이 애니메이션 부분, 특히 이제 연기에 대한 부분은 뭐 연기자들의 어떤 경험, 개개인의 어떤 능력치, 맨파워나 뭐 퍼포먼스가 중요한데 아무래도 북한 사회의 특성인지는 모르겠지만 그런 좀 다양한 경험들이 좀 부족하다라고 생각이 들어서 굉장히 좀 난이도 있는 동작이나 이런 것들에 대한 설명을 제가 하기도 힘들었었고 또 그런 것들을 표현해내는 데는 좀 한계가 있지 않았나.
어린 펭귄이 학교를 이렇게 걸어가야 되는데 마치 군대에서 제식 훈련하듯이 이렇게 손을 저어가면서 일렬을 맞춰서 가는 그런 캐릭터를 그려와가지고 이제 수정했던 과정들이 있었는데 그런 것처럼 이 창의력이라고 하는 것은 사회 전반적으로 어떤 차별화되고 또는 이제 지식적 토대가 갖춰져야 되는 부분들이기 때문에 그런 점에서 본다면 북한에서 이 애니메이션이라는 것은 상당한 한계를 가지고 있고 그것은 학문적인 어떤 여건 또는 자유로운 생각이 펼칠 수 있는 사회적 토대가 되지 않나 그런 생각을 가지고 있습니다.
Despite their efforts, experts predict the communist animators will hit their own limit sooner or later, as the animation trend is shifting from a focus on production to creativity, which the rigid North Korean society desperately lacks.
And that's all we have time for this week. Now, it's high season for summer vacation, so let me wish happy holidays to you, your family, and your friends. But I do hope you'll find time to tune in again next week. I'm Andrew Salmon. This was Bizline. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.